I hate videos. Now, you may be wondering, if I hate videos, what the heck am I doing here? Woohoo! As my wonderful friend says, happy Friday, everyone. It is another episode of Inspiration from Inga. I'm so privileged to be able to be here with all of you. And if you're watching live, drop us a comment, let us know where you're tuning in from. And if you have any questions, please drop us a comment. Um, if you and I have not met yet, my name is Inga van Roy, and I am recognized as a connection catalyst. I help people connect to the ideal community, and I am powered by the principle of Ubuntu. And let me show you what that means. So, Ubuntu is an ancient African word and it means humanity to others. It is often described as reminding us that I am because we are. And I truly believe that I am not the me that is sitting here in front of you without these ladies that are sitting in the green room. Some of them come with me a very long way, and some a little bit shorter, but they all have equal influence on who I am. And I appreciate them all. I have a friend in here that has known me since I was 9. Um, yeah, she's known the good, the bad, and the ugly parts of me, and she loves me still. Um, but, I want to let you all know, and I want to remind you all that no man is an island. And we all face adversity. Many a time when we're trying to go it alone, we do feel overwhelmed and like we're drowning. And one thing that I want to remind you is that, yes, we're not an island. So, when you are going through something, when you are facing that adversity, the best thing for you to do is reach out because there is someone that is out there that can be a beacon of hope for you, someone who can lend you a listening ear, someone who can lend you a shoulder to cry on. And I'm getting emotional because all these ladies that are here today have been something like that for me. So, anyway, if you're here, if you're watching live, drop us a comment. Let us know where you're tuning in from. Today, we will be speaking about the power of pain. As we all know, pain is pain affects us all. We all experience pain at one point or another. But it is our choice whether we allow it to be a positive influence or a negative influence on us, right? So pain can propel us forward or hold us back, but the choice is ours. So without further ado, actually, before I do that, let me say thank you to our amazing sponsor at AfriCorp Online Radio. We appreciate you. And if you are watching this live stream and would like to check out AfriCorp Online Radio, you can do so by going to the link that's scrolling across your screen. Please visit africorp.co.za and trust me, you will enjoy the music. My show is on Wednesdays, every Wednesday from 2 to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I actually play some music before and after interviewing my guests. All the ladies that are sitting here have actually been on that show. And the reason why I'm having a panel of ladies today, by the way, is because in South Africa, it is Women's Month. And I want to highlight some amazing women that are in my circle. So without further ado, how about I welcome the first one?
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. Very well, thank you.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear that. Thank you for being here, DiAnn. Won't you please introduce yourself? Let everyone know who you are and what you do.
Sure. My name is DiAnn Beyer, and first and foremost, I am a family person, a wife, a mother, a daughter. I'm a member of my community. For work, I am the Director of Accounting and Compliance for a Trade Adjustment Assistance Center in the United States, where we help U.S. manufacturers improve their profit lines.
Awesome. Thank you. And thank you for taking the time to be with us and share a little bit of who DiAnn is. I'm excited for the conversation.
Thank you for having me.
Pleasure. Welcome, Tracy.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're tuning in from.
I love it. Thank you. How are you?
I am well. I have a little bit of a cold, so I'm going to go on and off mute in case I need to blow my nose. But other than that, good.
Yes.
For those of you who don't know me, that's quite the intro.
Won't you please introduce yourself and let us know who you are and what you do?
Yes, absolutely. Hey, everyone. I am Tracy Borreson. Who am I? I am a mom. I have a fantastic 5-year-old son who keeps me on my toes and teaches me lessons about personal branding every day. I am located in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, where it looks like winter today and it's making me kind of dreary, but we're going to fix that with this conversation. I only drink tea. I don't drink coffee. So if you're a tea person, we should connect. And what do I do? I create spaces where people can find, embrace, and appreciate their authentic selves. That includes networking, that includes in sales, that includes in marketing. Everything I'm about is just doing you, finding your way to do your thing and bring it to the world. So that's who I am and what I'm all about.
I love it. Thank you, Tracy. Let's welcome the next one. Hello to you.
Hi, Inga. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Good.
It's
Good.
really lovely to be here. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. I want to tell you, I noticed what you were wearing, by the way.
Ah! Everyone, Inga got me this jersey. I think a couple 2020, right? Yes, 2020. I'm in South Africa, by the way. So good afternoon.
Good afternoon, and won't you please introduce yourself? Let us know who you are and what you do.
Thank you so much. My name is Babalwa Solombela. I'm a daughter of the Most High, first of all. I love the Lord. I'm a child of God, and that's my primary identity. I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I have 3 daughters, and during my day job I'm a transformation senior advisor. So it's diversity, equity, and inclusion, as well as belonging for a large corporate. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you for being here. Welcome to you, Michelle.
Hi.
How are you?
I am doing fabulous, thank you. And really, really in awe of all those 3 women already here. And sorry, Tracy, but not going to connect. This is coffee. Yeah. But anyway, you were going to ask me, who am I?
Yes, please. Can you tell us who you are and what you do?
No, sorry. I'm quite the kidder. But
Yeah.
anyway, who am I? I am your coach if you want to change your perspective. And don't we all? But I am the owner and starter of your future you, liveglad.dk, manifesting now, and a bunch of other things. I am an entrepreneur at heart and a social worker by the day and a superhero by night. I love making people laugh, and I live for the light in the eyes when people get it. I'm sure you know that, when they get that. Not that we help them do anything, but that they get it themselves. So, and I'm a mom, a wonderful teenager, 16-year-old daughter. She's sent off to boarding school.
That's how
I'm having a party, but yeah, and a wonderful son. And I loved the Tracy, your 5-year-old son. Mine is 11, and he's a YouTuber already, and I'm learning from him.
Wow.
So yeah, and I do also say that I have a wonderful husband, and he is my crazy half.
Yes.
Yeah, not my better half, but my crazy half. So, and yeah, and just, and I'm your friend.
Yes, you are. You're my friend and my sister.
Yeah.
So thank you. Welcome. Thank you for being here. Let me add the last lady. Hello, lady.
Hello. Hi, everyone.
How are you?
Well, thank you. I'm a bit cold. It's raining and windy in Cape Town today. So that's why I'm wearing a scarf. It's freezing out here today. And the electricity is off, so we're having load shedding at the moment for the next 2 hours. But otherwise, I'm well. Thank you. I'm recovering well from surgery I had 3 weeks ago. Got another 2 more weeks before I'm entirely better. Yeah. So
won't you please let us know who you are and what you do?
well, I'm Rochelle Terry, a single mom of 2, a 7-year-old girl and a 22-year-old man. I'll call him a man. He's a big guy. 22. The gap is quite big, so he helps me a lot. I am a nurse by profession. That is my temporary job. I always call it my temporary job because my job also starts at home. When I get home, the real job starts. And I'm a mom that's usually up at 5 a.m., home by 7 p.m. So I have a very long day and a very few hours to spend with my kids. I am a nursing manager in the operating theater where we do surgery and orthopedics, broken bones, but anything that's broken, we fix. We screw, we nail, we hammer. So that is where I spend most of my day.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's me.
Thank you, Rochelle. And so we are 6. I do want to acknowledge the comments. So before we jump into the conversation, let's go and check out who is here and listening. Ooh. We have Laura, another amazing woman. Laura Molando is the stress commando. And she says, Happy Friday from Cedar Hill, Texas. Hi. I think we lost Rochelle. She'll be back. But thank you for being here, Laura. Nice to have you. And we have D. Scott Smith. He says, Hello from Independence, Oregon. Thank you, Scott, for being here with us. We also have Karen Rivera. She says, Greetings from the piney woods of East Texas. She's another amazing woman, and I can't wait to highlight her as well. And then we have Michelle in the comments as well. You are a superwoman. And she says, Woo! And Scott says, Hello, Tracy, Babalwa, Rochelle, Michelle, and DiAnn. and the fabulous host, Inga. Oh, I'm not so fabulous, but they make me fabulous. Thank you for being here. We also have Sahar Malik says, hello, everyone. Greetings from Pakistan. Thank you for being here, Sahar. I hope you'll enjoy the conversation. And I think Rochelle is back. Yes.
Yeah, we are the difficulty with the load shedding, yeah, at the moment.
That's okay, no
Yeah.
worries. If you fall off, you can just come back whenever you have
Okay.
chance.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, let's jump into the conversation. Today we're talking about the power of pain, and I want to just dive in and ask you all. The first question is, can you share a personal experience where you faced significant pain or adversity? How did you navigate through it? This will be, I'll just put it up here on screen and we can jump in and I'll ask you in order. Is that okay? Yeah.
Sure.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
DiAnn, that means you're in the hot seat.
I'm in the hot seat. I'm taking it first.
Yes, please.
That's all right. We'll let somebody else bring us all in for a home run. So personal experience and how I navigated through it. I'm going to take you back to fourth grade, and I was brutally bullied in fourth grade the entire year. I had lived in Connecticut in third grade and a very farm area and moved into an inner city school in fourth grade. And because I didn't belong, I was treated like I didn't belong. I wish I could say I had some great way of navigating through it. But I'll be honest, the only reason I survived it was my father's job moved us to Pennsylvania and moved me out of the situation. But so I didn't, I escaped it. I didn't navigate it. However, bullying is something that has a tremendous impact, negative impact on so many. And it's something that we all face. And for a long time, I considered myself a bully advocate for anti-bullying. And I realized that the definition of bullying is a repeated, habitual, recurring, and deliberate act. And as soon as we go into that definition, we can't address the first incident somebody is bullied, because now we have to wait for a pattern to be established and we can't help the victim. So I now consider myself an anti-abuse advocate, because I promote that we switch the narrative from bullying to verbal abuse. Because when we look at the verbal abuse definition, verbal abuse or verbal aggression, verbal attack, verbal violence, verbal assault, psychic aggression, psychic violence, or mental abuse is use of oral, gestured, written language directed to a victim, can include acts of harassing, labeling, insulting, scolding, rebuking, excessive yelling. It can also use derogatory terms, deliberate statements intended to frighten, humiliate, denigrate, belittle. These attacks may result in mental and or emotional distress for a person. And when we switch our focus from bullying to verbal abuse, then we can help our victims incident one.
Wow. Wow. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tracy.
I'm just like taking a moment to let what DiAnn said sink in, because it's so, I mean, I have an approach which is like approach everything with kindness and compassion. And so I feel like often I get confused when that isn't the default response. But I think we all know that for many is not the default response. And it's also interesting for me. I am going to share a pain story, but I I feel like to some degree as a kid, I was like resilient to bullying. Like I just didn't accept it. And I always remember I used to have this backpack that was a wheel backpack, but I would wear it sometimes. And then people would pull the like handle up. So I had like an antenna. And I would just like take my backpack off and put the handle down and like go. It was like annoying, but it didn't bother me. And so I think these are also types of things when we're talking about like there's the abuser and then there's the abused. And I think we do have power as the abused. We might get into that later. But I do want to share my pain story because it's a different type of pain story. So people might be able to relate to one or the other. In August of 2021, 3 days before my mom's birthday, I had a miscarriage. And it was my second pregnancy, and my first pregnancy went like totally fine. And so like it wasn't even in my realm of expectation that was going to happen to me. And in that moment, I have just like, I don't know if anyone else has ever experienced that like confused sadness, like you're confused, but you're like so sad, but you kind of don't know why you're so sad because you're so confused. And all I remember happening in that moment is like the only thing I could bring myself to do was text my mom because I knew that at her birthday party on the weekend, people are going to ask me. And I was like, people can't ask me because I can't talk about it. So I need you to tell everyone that this has happened so no one talks about it. And it wasn't in just that moment, but in that moment and then continually after that I realized that in order to navigate this, I had to have my people. Like I needed people to know this. I could not. It was probably the first time in my life where I was very clear that I could not navigate this by myself. Like I've always been like really independent and like I could easily navigate people picking on me at school. It didn't feel hard, but this felt hard and I needed my people. So I know, Inger, you and I bond both very strongly over community. And this is like absolutely something I do not believe I could have navigated this situation without my community.
Wow.
So that's me.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that with us, Tracy. And
Yeah.
Yeah, Inger knows this story, so she knew that this is what I was bringing. It's heavy for a Friday, but it's also something that I'm glad I have. I'm glad that, I mean, I always feel like when you face adversity, you're not necessarily glad for the adversity, but you are glad for what you took away, what you have now because of that loss. And it like 100% has made me a better person. So it is something that I get to celebrate, and I celebrate Inger for continuing to give me platforms to share it so that it can continue to be something that I see as a gift instead of something that feels like a very heavy weight to carry.
Thank you. I would like to say this. I know it's Friday, but pain, adversity doesn't care what day it is.
Doesn't take a holiday.
Yeah, it's any day. We can face pain and adversity, and I want you, if you're listening, if you're watching, to, and also everybody that's on the panel, to have examples of people that have overcome, so that you know that you too can overcome. So, and I will not be sharing for me. This is for me to highlight you guys. I do have many pain stories, but I want to learn from all of you and I want you to have the platform to share. So, Babalwa, what's yours?
Thanks for the platform, Inga, and really touching story, Tracy. I totally can relate. That has happened to me. But the pain story I want to talk about is on the 12th of May. in 2013. I was pregnant, heavily pregnant, and 2 weeks before I gave birth, my mom died. And so you can imagine I was over 36 weeks pregnant, and I had to travel about 1,000 k's to my hometown, the Eastern Cape, where my mom lived with my dad. And I was told by my doctor that I cannot fly. I was too heavily pregnant to fly. And so I had to drive. I had to drive down at the time with my brother, and my husband and our daughters flew. But the important part about it, as painful as it was, it's what I meant when I say pain doesn't take a holiday. It was my happy time. It was my nesting time. It was my time, and that happened, and it couldn't be postponed. In that time, we had to work to do the funeral. But before I left Joburg, I prayed and I spoke to God and I said, "Listen, it's fine. It has happened. I accept. But what I want you to do for me is that I want to give birth in Joburg." So, despite the vibrations on the road, traveling 800, more than 800 Ks, almost 1,000 Ks to the Eastern Cape, I didn't have a single contraction. And I got to East London with my siblings, and I ran around like I wasn't pregnant. And it was such a sore sight, to see a lady this far running around, carrying chairs, organizing people. But I just said, "Lord, you are God." And we worked, and we buried my mom, and I didn't speak, obviously. And yeah, and then we came back. And then I had to start nesting again all over. And then I gave birth. My daughter's born on the 25th of May, and my mom died on the 12th. So, like, just 2 weeks apart. And I think the pain is a miracle, because I prayed and I said, "You know what? I cannot compromise this child." Oh, by the way, that baby I had prayed for 12 years. So in the journey, I used to cry every month for 12 years. Every month end, I would cry because I wasn't pregnant. And those times where it did happen and then it wouldn't stick, I'd cry some more. So I spent 12 years crying to have this baby, for only to have this sadness just before her birth. So I said, "Lord, you know what? I cannot, I have to rejoice. This is my miracle." And then I had to park the pain. And I want to tell you something interesting. You can't park the pain. I had to park the pain, my mother's loss and the grief, because I wanted to enjoy my child and I didn't want my child to experience me depressed. On the 7th year of my child's life, that's the year I started crying. Every single song, every day. I've been thinking about my mom. I've been playing my mom's music. It was only on the 7th year that I released the grief, and I actually grieved and released everything. Yeah, I started healing from that. So yeah, that's my pain story.
So you navigated through it by parking the pain,
Yeah, I did.
grieving 7 years later. Wow.
Yeah, I did. And it was just it was a miracle. It was hard. There were moments, yes, in the years, even then, I used to cry, but it wasn't like, hey man, my mom's gone. It wasn't that. It was like, I'm sad, I can't believe this is happening, all of that. And then in the seventh year, I was like, wow, I can't believe this has happened.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
it just all came flooding. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you for sharing with us. Um, wow. Let me bring on the next guest, Michelle.
That's me.
Yes, that's you. Won't you please share your story with us?
Yeah. And thank you, ladies, for sharing. And I knew the question would come. And since I knew the question would come, I've been thinking, yeah, but what story? Because sometimes I feel, I don't know if you all know Hulk, the Hulk,
Mm,
the big green guy, right?
yes.
And at one point in one of the movies, he's asked how he started controlling not turning into the big, great Hulk. When he controlled his anger. And he says, who said I stopped being angry? And with that, who said that the pain stopped?
Mm,
Because, that just rings really clearly that I had to say that, because the pain never stops, because the pain is not supposed to stop, because the pain is the yin to the yang, or the yang to the yin. It is a part of life. It is on top of the shoulders of pain that we actually thrive and go up in the world or
mhm,
forward. With that said, I do know which story we've talked about that is most fitting here, and that is my mom.
mm,
The thing is, my mom, she was sick all my life. She was rushed to the hospital when I was 5 years old, and I was standing on the curve. Now I'm 45, so this is quite not so long ago, but I was standing on the curve, and I was seeing my mom being put into this old ambulance. They don't exist anymore. And all the children, they came. We were living in this big place where there was a lot of apartments and, yeah, middle class something. And all the children came and looked and everything. And I remember her saying, now you go ahead and be a good girl. That ringed. That's still me. That's the good girl.
mm,
So the pain of her, look, I was 5 years old. I didn't recognize pain. It was staring me right in the face. I didn't know anything. The pain was slowly, and it was nagging, and it was over years. It was the looks at people when my mom, she couldn't walk. It was the looks from people when she was driving something special vehicle. It was our superhero vehicle. And it was red. It was the Ferrari. But so my pain already back then got turned into something powerful. And my mom was to thank for that. But I think my biggest pain was about a year before. I didn't plan this. What was about 2 years before she died in 2014, when I found out that I could have helped her not have all that pain, that I could have had a different childhood. And how? This brings me to what I do today. and my focus on health. It's not as big a part of what I do today as it was before, but it is a big part. Luckily, about 2 years before, she got cancer. She had everything else, and honestly, we had so much black humor. So we were joking that everything she had every disease in the book along the way. So we joked that cancer didn't want her. But she got cancer, and ever since I was a little girl, when you find a penny, pick it up, and all day you will have good luck. So every time I found a penny, I would wish for my mom to get healthy, or for me to find a cure or something like that. So I got introduced to what health, and I've been always searching for a way to help my mom. Mm. And I did. And I got her started on a different program, nutrition and everything. And she got better. And for the first time ever, we actually had the best time of our lives. And the last year of her life were the year after I was 5 years old, with less pain, more mental strength and everything. Mm. Why is that my pain? Because why didn't people tell her that? Why isn't it there for everyone to see? And why should a girl, 5 years old, 7 years old, a teenager, stand alongside, but stand alongside a sick mom when there is this knowledge? So what can I use this pain to? I've been so mad at so much of the world for not having this knowledge out there for all of us to see. So what can I use this pain for? I can damn straight make sure that I share it with people when I get the opportunity.
Yeah.
So this is my power. This is my superpower. This has been the driving force of my life to make sure that I'm healthy, make sure that my family is healthy. And if people are willing to listen, and I can get really pushy. No, Inga says I'm not pushy.
No, you're not.
Yeah. But I will share my story. So that's the power of my pain.
Thank you. Thank you. Rochelle, let's put you in the hot seat while you're still here. You're on mute. You're on mute.
Oh, yes, I'm back. Oh, anything. So, I have, in the last year, I've recently started seeing a therapist after many, many years of struggling with depression that was diagnosed very late in my life. It actually started already when I was 10 years old, because how I know that is that when I was 10, it was the first time that I felt like I didn't want to live anymore. I just knew I didn't want to die or kill myself, but I just knew, like, I don't want to wake up tomorrow morning and see a new day. And I didn't have a name to it. I couldn't, my vocabulary at that time was not as good to actually label this feeling and say that it is depression. Then I grew up, and life just went through being in a Christian household. Christian music is playing, and you're told that when you know Christ, you do not experience these type of negative feelings. So you always try and get them away. Then at the age of 18, I fell pregnant. I just matriculated, finished grade 12. I met someone for the first boyfriend I've ever had, and I became pregnant. And to me, it's like, this doesn't happen to girls like me. Everything's supposed to go well. And when everybody else is excited when a baby's coming, or they feel sad for losing a baby, I wasn't sure what to to feel when I found out that I was pregnant. One thing I did know, I was very disappointed in myself, and that just added already to how I was feeling about myself. And the pain that came with being pregnant, coming from a society where, you know, pregnancy only comes when you're married. You need to save yourself for marriage, and babies come during that time. Now you're sitting here with all the shame that you're carrying. You're sitting in the house most of the time. You're ashamed to go out, to take a walk outside in the street, to go shopping. You just want to hide all the time from everybody, because from all the stares that you're getting, you are looked upon as almost with disgust, and you've put shame on your family. And for me, it was a very, very depressing time. It was a very painful time for me, because you face rejection. It's also believed in our culture that your friends shouldn't be visiting you, or you shouldn't be visiting friends, because such things rub off onto others. It's almost like it's contagious, you know. I don't know how that can be contagious. So you are kept away from your friends. You know, it's only my friend Inga that was brave enough to visit me, and that understood where I was at the time. And of course, you have a fear of the future. You don't know what your future is going to look like. You become anxious and very uncertain of, you know, what lies ahead, how you're going to manage being a young mother, will you be able to take care of this child. Nobody's interested in you, your family, because at that time your family is also mourning. It's like really like death is coming to the house at the time. So they're also having this fears of them. So they're dealing with their own fears, and nobody really cares about the one who's carrying this child, and nobody cares about how you feel, the pain you feel at the time, the shame you feel at the time, the guilt you have. Nobody cares about that. So that is something that you have to deal with on your own. And so I learned to deal with that on my own. I learned to accept everything that has happened, and now how am I going to get my way out of this? And then I would, you know, do research. I would read books. I would try and eat healthy, so to keep my mind healthy. And I remember saying to myself, you know, Lord, I'm not ready to have a child. I myself need help. I myself need healing. How do I still bring a child into this world? And of course, through my faith, that you asked, how did I navigate through this? It was through my faith, and believing that I knew that even if everybody else judges me, Christ won't judge me. He won't put this label on me to say you are condemned, because that is exactly how you feel in society, that you are condemned, that you are. Why I was told to my face sometimes, you are spoiled goods. You're a young lady, but you are spoiled goods, and you were seen as spoiled goods when you had a child at a very young age. And so for me, like, you know, like Babalwa said, sometimes when the child came, I had to park my pain. I had to put all my pain aside for all my previous traumas from being abused as a child. I couldn't deal with those things growing up and having to raise a child. So I had to put my pain aside so I could look after this. And only years later, like now in my 40s, I really broke down and I really cried, and I thought, I need to seek help. And so only a year later, I started seeking help for the pain I've gone through, for the rejection, for the neglect, for all those negative people around me. And I decided that I was going to use my pain at a young age, and you're not married and you don't have the support of the father, that it's not the end of the world.
Yes.
That you can get up, you can dust off, and you can move forward.
Mm-hmm.
And that you are worth it of anything. And that is my power of my pain, is to let others know that you are still worthy, you're still beautiful, and that you are still valuable in the eyes of God. You are
Yes.
not condemned, you are not a reject, you are not condemned goods. You are everything awesome.
And you can make a difference.
Yes,
You're doing that.
definitely.
You're doing that now. Thank you, Rochelle, for the tears too. Let's.
So there.
That's okay. Let's go to the comments. I want to acknowledge people. So Russ says good morning, and he says what an amazing group. And he says, good morning, Tracy. I sent you a LinkedIn message. Thank you. And he says, good morning, Inga. You are amazing. You're amazing, Russ. Thank you for being here with us. Um, we also have Mian Usman Salim saying hello. Thank you. And Laura says today is a high pain day for her. So she's grateful for this panel, grateful for learning from all of us. Thank you, Laura. Russ says it's such a great discussion, and thank you. Thank you to you, Russ. Mian says he's sending love and support from Pakistan.
Thank you.
And Russ says he's watching from Salem, Oregon. And we have Aliana says, Amen. And look at you now,
Yeah.
able to share your stories with others. Yes. Laura says, I am feeling all the feels listening to you all and sending so much love, light, and gratitude. Thank you. Oh, wow. Aliana says, you are not alone. I'm here if you need me. And Sergio says, powerful story and now inspiring others. Beautiful.
Amen.
Thank you. Wow. There is beauty in pain. I think many of us reject pain and think that it's an ugly thing, but it's part of life, and there is beauty in it. Um, I'm looking at the time, and we have time for one more question. So now I want to. We've cried, we've laughed, we've done everything, we've felt all the feels, and I want us to go into the positive.
Yeah.
So I would like to ask you this question, ladies. In what ways did pain push you to grow and develop as an individual? And I'm going to go in order again. So let's go for you, my darling friend, DiAnn.
So, as Inger knows, I was thinking about doing something else today, and I got that little tap on the back of my head and said, talk about bullying. And I've been advocating and to switch the dynamics of the conversation from bullying to anti-abuse, right? Abuse in any way, shape, or form is not to be tolerated. And when the ladies started talking about their pain and other stories, I was like, wow. And Rochelle, I've got to say to you, you pulled it all together for me of why I'm being guided to talk about anti-abuse, because everything you went through is abuse.
Yes.
The fact that we were not human and treated you as a human being through your story, and that goes exactly to what I've been trying to raise awareness of, shifting our perspective. We need to be human, honor the human beings in our lives, to come to a place that no abuse is ever acceptable. Verbal, physical, emotional, mental, sexual, financial abuse is abuse, and it is not acceptable ever. And when we can all commit to that, we can all move to becoming. And how did my pain push me to grow and develop? I have become a safe place. I am a place where people can come and be safe, and I am not going to allow abuse to fester in front of me. And the truth is, I brought this up because it's not a childhood thing. And right now in the States, we are struggling with verbal abuse and verbal attacks rampantly, and everybody feels as though they are not valued. And we know verbal abuse can move to physical abuse and increase in intensity. We also know that everything we hear, we say, we are told, our subconscious mind pulls in as truth. and then remind you for 24 hours of it. So it's critically important for us to change the conversations. And I know all of you are representing from other countries around the world, but here in the United States, you know, our government leaders, our corporate leaders are all constantly participating in this verbal abuse and making it normalized. And people are really hurting, and we don't know how to react. And that's my biggest thing right now is, you know, I teach students, but it's becoming adults now. When somebody tries to land a verbal punch, they're throwing a verbal punch. And we can't come back with a punch because that's just going to escalate. We need to learn, like from martial arts, to block the punch, right? To protect yourself. So we need to let it land and hit where we can block it. And it can be something that is just simple, where we say, you know, that wasn't very nice, or that was nasty, or I deserve to be treated better. And recently, in the last 6 months, I'll be honest, I was in a corporate board meeting where I was being verbally attacked, and I decided this is where I need to stand up and say, I'm sorry, I don't deserve to be treated like that. And I walked out of the room because we need to learn how to do self-care and self-love. So, and for children, my mother used to say, if somebody's giving you a hard time and bullying you, just blow raspberries, you know, when you stick your tongue out and you're like, because when you do something like that, the person doesn't know how to respond. If you know the person who's being nasty, you can maybe do humor and say, come up with like, did you fart? Because something stinks, right? And just put them on, like, you're not putting them on blast, right? But you're just letting them know, I'm not going to let this, it's not going to hit. I'm going to block it, right? We need to know how to stand up for ourselves and block the punches. We need, as our dear friend on panel said, we need to be superheroes in our own lives and stand up for others who can't do it for themselves, and become that safe place that when we see somebody being abused in any shape or form, we stand up.
Yes.
And we need to get to the place of being human with our fellow human beings, of respecting, being kind, giving dignity, and loving our fellow neighbor.
Yes.
So,
wow.
How did I develop as an individual? I became a safe place. And I'm trying to promote the change that we all need to all have a better life.
Beautiful. Thank you, DiAnn. And I'm looking at the time, so won't you tell people where they can find you, where they can connect with you, please?
You can connect with me on LinkedIn.
Thank you. You're awesome.
Please do, because we are better when we are together.
Absolutely.
And I am a better person tomorrow because of all of you today. So I thank you for making me a better person. My love.
Thank you. Thank you, DiAnn. Thank you for, wow. Thank you. Thank you for being part of this panel and making time to be with us. Tracy, you're up.
All right, I will try and keep it short, but I'm terrible at that. So something that you said, DiAnn, was really, really touched me, and the blocking the punches. What I realized in my pain journey was that the punches were coming from myself. Yes. And so I remember, like, you know, when you have those like high definition moments. So I was in my recovery period, and my brain was saying, this isn't my fault. I didn't like it, blah, blah, blah. It's still blah, blah, blah in my head because it wasn't meaningful. And I was riding my Peloton. I got like obsessed with my Peloton because I'm like, maybe this is a health thing. So I just need to be healthier and then I'll be fine. And then there's an additional story that came from that. But I remember I was riding my Peloton. I used to have this picture of Darth Vader I'm a Star Wars fan, so I had this picture of Darth Vader in front of my Peloton. Yes, Star Wars fans. And I was riding it really hard. And the instructor was like, put something at the top of the hill so that you're going to like, and I was looking at this Darth Vader and I just start crying. It's like Darth Vader was looking into my soul, telling me like I was doing this from the dark side instead of the light side. And I was like, what am I doing? Like literally, I am punishing myself. I was like going to a grief counselor and all of these things to try and like create space and grace for myself. And I'm sitting here punishing myself. I'm sitting here punching myself. Like with Darth Vader's like vice grip on your neck, that's what was happening. And I was doing it to myself. And so in terms of how my pain pushed me to develop as an individual, that was the first moment where I was like, there's enough things in life that are going to throw me punches. I cannot throw punches at myself. So that's when I started to work on, I mean, I've been doing personal development for years before that, luckily, so I could see some of these things. But that was when I was like, I need to start paying attention to when I'm throwing punches at myself, because if I can't pay attention to that, I don't even maybe know when I'm throwing punches at other people. And I'm going to keep it short and to that, but that was the primary development for me, was stop throwing punches at myself. And you can find me on LinkedIn as well. Connect with me.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Be kind, not just to others, but to yourself as well. Show yourself grace too, as much as you show to others, right? So thank you, Tracy. Babalwa, you are up.
Thank you, Inga. I think in my case, I totally relate to Rochelle's story, having also the same story. Actually, when we started talking about pain, I wanted to ask which pain story should I tell? Because there's just so many.
Yes.
And I think even the way I respond to pain is because of how I grew up. I grew up in so much pain. And I can totally relate to Rochelle's story because I also went through that. I had a child out of wedlock, and she's now 22. And when she graduated, I was like, yes, 20 years later, here I am. So I am victory based in every situation that I go through, even as it's happening. I try to see the positive end. It's not always the case.
Yeah.
It doesn't always happen. I'm not always strong. I'm not always seeing the happy ending. I do break down. I do fall apart. But I always see the happy conclusion to the story, and I always try to see the silver lining. So in my relationship with God, and that's my biggest confidant, that's my biggest support. I asked him one day, why so much pain? Everywhere I look, every corner I turn, every part of my life, is filled with pain. And he just gave me that scripture, and it's the scripture of my life, Joshua 1, verse 9. Be strong, be courageous, and I will be with you wherever I will never leave you. I'll be with you wherever you go.
Amen.
So that is why I'm the way that I am. We have been told, be strong. And this God that says, be strong, is there to cry with you, to walk with you, to go through everything, and to give grace and to heal. He's an amazing healer. The things he's healed me from. I'm 41 years old, by the way. He's healed me from. I don't look like the pain that I have been through because of the love of God. Thank you.
Wow. Wow. Thank you. And where can people find you?
On LinkedIn. Thank you so much. Thank you, Inga, for the privilege. You're an amazing woman.
It's my pleasure. It's such an honor to have all of you here. Tracy had to leave, but we'll go with you, Michelle.
Yeah, thank you. The coffee drinker. Just
Tea.
because I really like Tracy, so that's why. Anyway, there's not one moment where one defining moment. There's all of them stacked together.
Mm,
And the most important thing is when I learned that it was my responsibility to see it from which perspective I was seeing things from, because the what's it called? Now I'm from Denmark. I didn't say that, so I need to. Who's the victim? Because I've been in a domestic violent relationship. I've been raped. I've been kicked. I've lived on the streets. I've done it all, and I thank you every person along the way that gave me that pain. It's not about that. It's about the perspective that I give it, because who is suffering the most? Me or the person inflicting the pain? So I saw a couple, I think it was last year, I saw the film, what's it called? The Christ, the new film where Mel Gibson, he's the instructor.
Passion of the Christ. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. There is this scene where Christ, he turns to his mom and says, "See, Mom, I'm making everything new." This is where he is bleeding. He's been tortured and he's in agony, pain. And he can still see that he is making everything new for everyone else.
mm,
Out of the ashes comes life.
yeah.
Now I'm not a Christian. I do believe I have my faith. I have my faith in love and humanity and caring. So when I decided that life was my responsibility, I also decided that the pain was my responsibility. So even though Tracy isn't here, I echo her remark. Thank you.
Thank you. Where can people find you, Michelle?
Oh, Facebook, LinkedIn, and I'm really trying hard to get my website up and running, but LinkedIn is the sure thing.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Rochelle, go for it.
Well, you know, when you grow up in a certain society or certain group of people, you are taught how to be Miss Perfect, and that everything must be done according to the book. And if it doesn't go according to this book, I guess it's the black book they're talking about. I'm not sure which book. They always say the book that your life will be okay. So you start almost like when your life goes perfect, well, you start looking down at others, you start judging, you know, others whose life is not similar to yours. And then when you step into this situation now, when I became pregnant, you're like, oh my, it's me. And then you realize that we are all human beings. We can all step aside and make mistakes. We can all have adversities in our lives. And what my pain has showed me is that I need to be less judgmental of others, irrespective of their faith, religion, ethnicity, their status as well, because certain things are not just for the people out there living in the, like they will send location or the education levels that are low. These things crime affects all levels, all stages, all classes. Nobody is exempted. Even as a Christian, you're not exempted to bad things happening to you.
Yeah.
So it also made me become more sympathetic to others and have more empathy, especially in my field. You have all these, even 12-year-olds walking in, being pregnant, coming to have babies. And before I would have said, what is wrong with this child? I would have questioned it before I would have judged and said, take care of yourself. But then you look at them and you think, but why are they doing this? Because in South Africa, poverty and unemployment is so high that some of these girls have babies just to get that support from the government, that money that they get every month. And so having children is a way actually of making money or getting some financial assistance from the government. So you cannot look down at a young girl who walks in. You don't know what her home situation is. You don't know, maybe she's been raped, maybe she's gone through abuse. And the fact that she's here today. So it has taught me to put myself in that person's shoes. Also, it makes you humble, and you are able to support that person, whether it's you make a bag of goodies for the children or for the babies and these women. You are able to send them to special homes where they can get assistance. And really, what I try and do every time when I see this, I always tell the girls, don't give up. It helps me to motivate them. I said, you know what? I've been there where you are. People look at me and they think I've had a smooth, like Babalwa says. It's not just the saying that says, I don't know if they know it, that black doesn't crack.
Yeah.
Yes, we are at 42. We're
It's
still
not
looking great.
fair.
We are looking gorgeous at 42.
Oh, yeah.
But it's not only that and good genes, but it's because of what carries you. The foundation and that you build for, even for your children today. That to say, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade out of it. And
Yes.
whenever you struggle, there is definitely a way out. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. And when I do for example, I like going out in nature. We've got lots of mountains around in Cape Town, hiking trails. And for me, a hiking trail is not just about going and getting fit, but for me, it's almost like I'm going on a walk. And when I get to the top of that hill, I feel like I've conquered something. I'm victorious. So it always has a meaning for me. Everything I do in life, whether I walk with my feet on the grass, whether I go swimming, it's to refresh myself, whether I go hiking, it always has a meaning. It's not just I'm enjoying nature, but to say everything in life can be conquered with difficulties. When you climb up that mountain, sometimes you are not ready for all those hills and all that goes up. But when you get to the top, you're like, wow. And I take that with me, and that is how I face my daily challenges every day, to say, I know this can be done.
Wow.
Yeah, so that just means.
And where can people find you?
Well, I'm not on LinkedIn yet, but I am on TikTok, amazingly. I'm on TikTok, Instagram, and on Facebook. So that is where I'll be on LinkedIn soon, everyone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, she will. And I want to let us just, if anybody needs to drop, if you have another commitment, please go ahead. I would like to acknowledge the people in the comments, and then I will wrap up and end the
Thank you.
show.
Can I just jump in here a second?
Yes, jump.
I just think, two comments, right? Our show is power from pain, of pain.
Mm-hmm.
We need to to say maybe power or pain. Pick the power instead of the pain. But all of our stories today have highlighted for me one thing. And it is critically important for us to support each other.
Yes.
And value each other for the woman we are.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Rachel, you are a fabulous mother. And
Yes.
that does not change by the way you became a mother. And
Mm.
we as women need to stand up and support each other through all of our adversities,
Yes.
and be not only our own personal best friend,
Mm.
but be
Yes.
the advocates for each other, and change those dynamics.
Yes.
So, and that goes for all of you sharing. And that's just been the theme that I've been hearing through the whole conversation today, is that we can really make a better world when we
Yeah.
commit to fully supporting each other and taking away these labels and,
Mm.
the
Yes.
abuse and the issues that divide us, and just come together as humans.
Yes. Absolutely. Thank you.
So thank you all.
Now we have Whitney who came in and she says, better late than never. Good morning. And she says also, I will have to be team replay. I got to catch the wisdom of DiAnn, Tracy, Michelle, Rochelle, and Babalwa. So thank you. Um, Ileana says, thanks for being you. Have a good day. Thank you, Ileana. Wow. And we have Sergio who says, excuse me, funny how the universe works. I don't know or remember how I found myself in this group, but I have also been going through a metamorphosis and recording videos to talk about it. I'd like to share my budding channel. There's the link, everyone, if you'd like to check it out. And we have James. He says, greetings. Thank you for being here, James. Nice to see you. And we have Tim Sohn. Oh my goodness. Hi, Tim. Thank you for being here. And Whitney is highlighting that we are women supporting women. Thank you, Whitney. Michelle says you can also find her on YouTube. There's a YouTube channel, everyone. Go check it out. She says, I will soon open up more online conversations, workshops, and coaching. I'm looking forward to that. So, everyone, I would like to say this. I want to bring you back to what I said at the beginning. We all face pain and adversity. We all do. And I would like you to find the power in your pain. And I hope that this panel has inspired you to do so. And I want to remind you too that no man is an island. So if you are going through pain or adversity, please reach out. I'm sure any one of us that's on this panel would be willing to listen and help you through however way we can. And if not, reach out to somebody else. Just reach out and know that you are not alone, that there are others who have walked this road too, and that can inspire you. And when you are dealing with your community, when you are reaching out to others, remember to be kind. You don't know the pain that someone else is facing. You don't know what they have gone through. So approach them without judgment and make sure you show them grace and kindness. And while you're at it, do that for yourself too. Thank you, everyone, for being here and being part of this conversation. We love you. We appreciate you. And please know that next week we're having another episode of Inspiration from Inga. So come on over and join the conversation. Thank you, ladies. You have all
Thank
been
you.
amazing.
Thank
It's
you.
such a privilege and an honor to know you all. Be blessed.
Mm.
Bye.
And,
Bye, everyone. Nice meeting you.
and if
Nice
you
meeting
can,
you.
if you can,
Thank you for your stories. Thank you so much.
it's a pleasure. And guys, if you can stick around, let me just end the show and we can chat in the green room again. Thank you everyone for being here and all you ladies for sharing your stories with all of us. Be blessed. Have an amazing weekend, everyone, and we'll see you back here next week for another episode of Inspiration from Inga.